Hello, hello. Welcome back to the weekly Monday Motivation Podcast, No More Excuses. This is your host, Sandi Ballard. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing the podcast with others via social media or I guess just email. Thanks for connecting with me via social media. And if you have not checked out my website or you're new to me and my podcast, check out badassbusiness.coach. Yes, I added that new domain on there. What do you think? I like it. Well, I'm out in California visiting my baby daughter. She's 23 and a half, so not much of a baby, but it's been great as I only see her a couple times a year, which is unfortunate. And when I saw her in August, it was only for a couple days, as most of my visits to her are, because many times I'm out there, I was in August, and a few other times I've been out there speaking at conferences, and this one was a national conference, and so I only had a couple days, and she, kind of made me sad when I said, oh, we just, her dad was going out to see her, and I'm like, well, we saw each other, and she goes, but only for a couple days, so that kind of pulled on Mama's heartstrings. So, this was actually a gift to me, so it was a surprise. It's fun, and it's good to be out there seeing her, right? So last week's podcast was about reward, and although this trip was a surprise gift, I'm viewing it as a reward for myself as well. A little bit bigger of a reward than Words with Friends after I do my first 3 tasks, right? But I usually attach business to it. Yes, it's a write-off. However, I apply to speak at conferences in warm places I've never been, places where I have friends and or my daughter. It is a write-off, but it's also a reason to try to go to new places and speak at different conferences. And this trip, although I'm doing a little bit of work, it's a huge reward for me. Why? Because in 2018, if you listened, I refocused late in the year, got out of my own way, became the ringmaster of my shit show, and I finished 2018 strong. So for me, this is a huge reward. What about you? Last week I asked, how do you stay focused and reward yourself for getting shit done? I heard, take a day off with my wife, or surprise her and take her to lunch. I heard massages. I heard a Netflix binge and Game of Thrones binge watching, right? And if you didn't message me or post on social media, you can do that now. You can email me at sballard@growingforward.biz or sballard@badasscoach.biz. And this whole trip had me thinking about what do we, whether you're a business owner, stay-at-home mom, who, for those of the stay-at-home moms that I know, you deserve a vacation more than anyone, or you work for someone else. No matter what you do, what do we do and what do we sacrifice for the sake of others, right? What do we sacrifice for the end result? What do we deny ourselves of because, and you can fill in the blank with whatever. It's probably how I was raised. For me, that thrifty mentality, putting other people first, pay others before I pay myself. And you hear a lot, I've heard it a lot, pay yourself first. Well, that can get your lights shut off and the damn tax man up your ass, right? So to me, I always think about paying other people first, doing other things. What more can I do for others? And I honestly love and appreciate how these, like my daughter, who's 23 and a half, the Gen Y, the millennials, whatever is actually after that, how they're living. They're living first. I'm in awe. I hear people bitch and complain about, can't believe, da, da, da. I've seen more of my daughter's friends taking trips. My daughter lives in LA. She goes to Arizona for a concert. She'll drive up the coast and do stuff. It's like, that's just crazy. I never would have thought about doing that at her age. But that was because of how I was raised and my mentality, right? I also hear people say all the time, I couldn't do that because of, again, fill in the blank. It's usually money. Well, I have a job. I have responsibilities. I have kids. I have this. I have that. When I was my daughter's age, I had to take care of my mother. She was well enough to take care of herself, although she did have some health issues. But I kept allowing that to keep me here and to keep me from doing more. I denied myself. So, isn't that why we keep a damn bucket list? For all the shit we wish we would have done or want to do before we die? Well, let me pull back in. I realize the effort is worth it. All this hard work, everything we're doing is worth it. But the rewards keep us going. And if we deny ourselves, what are we doing? Right? We're not refilling the glass. We're not giving ourselves a brain break. We're not really living. And we're not being fair to those around us. Oh, it's all about balance, right? Well, balance is subjective and balance is whatever is good for you. I had a new client come in and she asked, how many things should I be doing in a day? How many hours is enough? And my response was, well, that depends. And what are you doing for you? Right? Because she said her husband was just so, sad for her and was watching her fall asleep at the desk and working so much and getting up and wash, rinse, repeat. She's on that crazy train, right? On the hamster wheel. And for that, it depends on what you do for a living, how many tasks you need to do, how those tasks affect your brain, the weather, your mood, your health, again, what you do for a living. Because what I can do in a day and mentally handle is different than what you can do or what she can do, or vice versa. So I suggested she talk to her husband about stop talking to her like that and saying that. Because when she's waking up frustrated and tired, having him say that is not really helping. But also, what is she gaining? How is she rewarding herself? And yes, this week's theme, what is she denying herself of, right? Let that one marinate. Email me, sballard@growingforward.biz, or post here. Perhaps create a list. Start thinking about what you are or have been denying yourself of, big or small. Vacation, Words with Friends games, pair of jeans. What are you denying yourself of, that little reward or that big reward for actually achieving progress, achieving success, right? Let's identify what you're denying yourself of so we can all figure out what it will take to actually change that way of thinking, change that mindset. And maybe achieving your ultimate goal is what will help things change. But make sure it's the small stuff too, right? I wouldn't have been taking this vacation had I not busted my ass and finished the year strong, right? So I tell all my clients, if you're not operating at 100%, what are you giving your family? What are you giving your staff and your clients, right? Because again, if you're not operating at 100%, if you're only operating at like 70%, then that's all you're giving them. And that's not fair to them either, is it? And it's not fair to you. So, this week, I want to hear from you, sballard@growingforward.biz, or post here. What do you feel like you're denying yourself of? All right? It goes back to like last week, like I said, the reward. But now that we've thought about the reward, what are you missing out on? Have a great week, and I look forward to hearing from you. Cheers.